एतानि असंहत्य यदा महत् आदीनि सप्तवाय कालकर्मा गुणापेदो जगदादिरुपाविशात् एतानि असंहत्य यदा महत् आदीनि सप्तवाय कालकर्मा गुणोपेदो जगतादिरुपाविशात् एतानि असंहत्य यदा महत् आदीनि सप्तवाय कालकर्म गुणोपेदो jagadadirupavishad. Synonyms: edani, these; asamhatya, being unmixed; yada, when; mahat adini, the mahat tattva, false ego and five gross elements; sapta, altogether 7. Why, in fact; kala, time; karma, work; guna, and the three modes of material nature; upedaha, accompanied by; jagat adihi, the origin of creation; upavishad, entered. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Translation: when all these elements were unmixed, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the origin of creation, along with the time, work, and qualities of the modes of material nature, entered into the universe with the total material energy in 7 divisions. Purport: after stating the generation of the causes, Kapiladeva speaks about the generation of the effects. At that time, when the causes were unmixed, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in his feature of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, entered within each universe. Accompanying him were all of the 7 primary elements, the 5 material elements, the total energy Mahatattva, and the false ego. This entrance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead involves his entering even the atoms of the material world. This is confirmed in the Brahma Samhita 535, Andandarastha Paramanu Chayandarastham. He is not only within the universe, but within the atoms also. He is within the heart of every living entity. Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, entered into everything. Om Ajnanatimidandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilidam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthavidam Yena Bhudale Swayam Rupakada Mahyam Dadadhi Swapadantigam Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Yudapadagammalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajadam Sahagana Raghunathanidam Tvam Sajivam Sadhvaidam Savadudam Parijana Sahidam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalidam Shri Vishakhanidamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpade Gopesha Gopika Kanda Radha Kanda Namostude Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sude Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarupasya Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Padidanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Om Namo Namo Aniruddhaya Hrishikeshendriyatmane Namaha Paramahamsaya Purnaya Nivurtatmane. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna. Thank you all for joining today. Very auspicious Srimad Bhagavatam class. As it's mentioned that Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtikim Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu. We can eradicate all our impurities of the heart just by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam every day. Thank you all for joining for this wonderful association so that we can discuss, we can speak, hear, and ask questions. This is all that we are in association with the Krishna. Bhagavatam is none other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We were going through this chapter, Kabiladev, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, explaining the fundamental principles of this material nature. So this is nothing but the Kabiladev was explaining about the external energy of the Lord, how this external energy manifested in this world, how this all creation taken place in this world. So initially, Kabiladev was mentioning about this total material energy, or it is called the Mahat Tattva, or the total material energy, which is initially in the form of a Pradhan, that is unmanifested total material energy, that will be eternal, that will be ever existing. So whenever there is an annihilation, whenever at the pralaya or the total annihilation, this Mahat Tattva will be covered by a cloud, and it will be remains there, but it will be there, an unmanifested state. But when the creation, when the nature wants to manifest, then it's become Prakriti or material nature. So then gradually it all manifests, transforms from one to another. As Bhagavatam explains that the Parasya Shaktir Vivadeva Sruyade. Parasya, that supreme potency, is manifest in various other forms. So everything belongs to Krishna. Everything is an expansion of Krishna. Everything is a potency of Krishna. Everything is transformation of that supreme potency of Krishna. Then we can see that in various stages this take place. Like just for an example, we know that the water is there. Water can be on the some state that it can become an ice and a solid substance. At the same time, the water can become a gas like a vapor and in another forms of, and very subtle form. So every aspect that we have in this material world have these three stages. There is a spiritual existence or spiritual aspects of it, and there is a subtle aspect of it, and then there is a gross aspect of it. So what we are seeing here, initially, as we all know, that everything belongs to that supreme, everything is that supreme potency. That supreme potency is again manifested in three ways. One is Andaranga Shakti, that is Satchitananda Rupa, Satchitananda or Chitananda Rupa or Satchitananda. That is the spiritual form, spiritual potency that also has an existence. Nothing that which, we say that, okay, nothing beyond our eyes, nothing exists. No, the spiritual existence, spiritual potency also has a body and has an existence. Then also it has a manifestation of the subtle nature of it. So subtle nature and the gross nature, when it comes together, then the creation begins from there. So similarly, that entire, that spiritual potency, that the supreme potency of the Lord, that again comes into the unmanifested state, that is Pradhan, then it's become, when it's wanted to have the creation, then it's become Prakriti. So that potency, Krishna has Andaranga potency. Then the another potency of the Lord is called external potency or Bahiranga Shakti. So what we all see in this material universe, in this material world, is nothing but is external potency. That Krishna says that in the Bhagavad Gita, that whatever we see, Bhumi Rapo Nalo Vayu Kamano Buddhiravacha Ahangara Mediyame Bhinna Prakriti Rashtadaha. Bhinna Prakriti. It is separated energy of the Lord. Bhinna Prakriti. Separated material nature, separated energy of the Lord. So, like that, so as we can see that Kabiladev was explaining about the science of this external energy, how it is manifesting, how it is taking place, how it is functioning, and what are the different categories of it, how it is Lord has control over it. So it's very beautiful to understand this. This is the science of this nature. I don't think that any other science explains very well than this. Everything is a mental speculation, all the mundane science or hypothesis. And sometimes they say, okay, this is like this. And after a few years, they say, no, it's not, it was not like that. It was like this way. So everything is like a speculation. But here we have a very solid, very transcendental, very pure understanding, and it can connect with everything in our life. Just for an example, Kapila was mentioning about that when the ignorance is agitated by the luster potency, that became the false ego. That became the false ego is generated like that, and then that created a sound. That created a sound, and from that sound, then either generated. So even any other scriptures, if you take, even Bibles, if you take, even Quran says, the first initially there was a sound. It was just mentioned like initially there was a sound, and so everything started from that sound. But Bhagavad explain goes further how that sound is generated because of when that the ignorance of the false ego of the ignorance is mixed with that the lust, that the sexual potency of, then it became created a sound. Then that sound, from that sound either manifested, and from that either then air manifested. When there was an air, then there is an another, all the this is the cause. The cause of that air is the cause, and also the effects also manifested. The effects of the cause of the air is that there is a sense of touch, there is a sense of feeling, and then also it created the effects of it. There is a demigod which manifested, that called Anala. There is a demigod manifested accordingly. So everything is manifestation of that same potency, that same energy. That's why the Krishna is the source of everything. So we know that in the Brahma Samhita, it is mentioned that Ishvara Parama Krishna Sarva Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadi Radha Govinda Sarva Karana Karana. So when it is mentioned Sarva Karana Karanam, Karana Karanam means the cause and the effect. Both are the Krishna. So Krishna is the cause and Krishna is also the effect. And Krishna, everything in this world is Krishna, and everything else is belongs to Krishna. Everything is Krishna and the Krishnas. Nothing that we can separate from Krishna in this world. So our understanding, when we understand this, so that we can connect everything to that supreme, then our faith will be increased more. So Mother Devahudi wanted to understand that how it is all this material manifestation is taking place. So Kapila was explaining like this. So all this cause and effect, that was the last words, the cause and effect, which was emanating from the Supreme. He's the cause of all the causes and emanating from the Supreme Lord. Now, in these words, Kapila was mentioning that now all these elements were unmixed. That means it was there as Mahat Tattva, as we know that the Karana, or there is, we generally mention that Karana Jal, or the casual ocean. That means all the ingredients are there in casual ocean, all in Karana Jala, and there the Mahavishnu lies down there with this all the causes, all the causes. That's why casual ocean we say, Karana Jala, ocean, casual ocean. So there all the ingredients are out there. It is unmixed. It is unmanifested or unmixed. So now this is the time that this each universe, as we know that this all coming out from this body of Mahavishnu. As it is Jada, initially it is known as Jada. It is Jada Prakriti. Then it is coming out from the body of Mahavishnu, and then when it is unmixed, it is Jada. It is unmixed. Nothing is enlivened there. So everything is Jada. So unmixed. And then Supreme Personality of Godhead then enters into that Prakriti, Jada Prakriti, and then that is actually along with the time, along with the work and the qualities of the modes of material nature, then enters into that universe, and it's become a universe. So we can see that Lord enters, not just that Lord enters with the time. That's a Kala Shakti. Then time, Lord enters with the activities, action. That means Lord enters with that demigods. So demigods are actually the one who makes, are actually one of the causes, secondary cause of that every activities that which we perform. Then also the modes of material nature, the gunas, the qualities, so that the living entities, those who are eternal, that also there in the body of Mahavishnu also enters into that universes. So similarly, then it's not Jada, then it get enlivened. Then also there is how it is actually Lord enters into as known as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. That's why the scripture reveals that Lord enters into the each universe. So there Lord lies down and filled with the water. Half of the universe is filled with the water. And then Lord lies down there as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. And then we know that further, And that Garbhodaksha Vishnu, that Lord enters into each and every universes, not that just one universes. So that means there are innumerable Garbhodaksha Vishnus. So there is only one Karanodaksha Vishnu, or called the Mahavishnu. But there are innumerable Garbhodaksha Vishnu. And then, as we can see that Lord's potency, that Vishnu enters into each and every atom and each and every universes. Not only that Lord does that, Lord then creates, and Lord is there, and then empowers each and every living entity to do the action as per the qualities and as per the time. So everything is Lord set there. That's why Srila Prabhupada is revealing here in this purport. Andandarasta Paramanu Chayandarasta. Lord enters into each and every atom. Not only that, Lord also enters into each and every living entity, in the heart of each and every living entity. So here, sometimes we learned that, or understood that, then again there is a further expansions of Garbhodaksha Vishnu is known as Shirodaksha Vishnu. So generally, it is mentioned that Shirodaksha Vishnu is seated in the heart. The Paramatma is actually known as Shirodaksha Vishnu. That Shirodaksha Vishnu lies down in a Shira, in a milk curtain. Their Lords lies down, and that Lords, then everything in this universes, each universes, and in that universes, that Lord again have many incarnations. And Lord also incarnate as the Paramatma in each and everybody's heart. So, but here it is mentioned that in this verse, mentioned that Kavaladev mentioned that Garbhodaksha Vishnu enters into each and every atom as well as Paramatma. Then how do we understand this? Because of us, we know that, see, like a judge in the court, right? He goes to the court, and the same person, he comes to the home. When a judge goes to the court, and everything is actually, he's a judge, everything has specific functions that judge has to do. Then everybody has a respect, everybody gets up when judge comes into the court, and then there is some protocol, and everything is maintained accordingly. But that the same judge come back to the home, and then that judge plays with the children, and sometimes they play with like elephant, and likes that the children, they play like that. So it's a different, same person, but in a different function. So like that, so Supreme Personality of Godhead, even though manifest, is complete. We cannot say that, okay, Garbhodaksha Vishnu is less than the Mahavishnu, or Shirodaksha Vishnu is less than the Garbhodaksha Vishnu. In every incarnation, in every expansions of the Lord is also complete. So we cannot separate from it. In the again, in the third canto, there is a verse that creation of the universal, creation of the universes. There is a chapter again. This sage Maitreya was explaining all this. And the sage Maitreya was explaining that even in Lord exists in this atomic form, Lord is complete. That we cannot say that, okay, Lord exists into this, atom, so that Lord is very insignificant. No, we cannot. Lord is also, there is a complete, and everything is. That's why even you split an atom, tremendous amount of energy that we cannot even count. And this, just the splitting of an atom, it comes out that of an energy. So we cannot even count. So the Lord's potency, Lord is complete in every aspect of it. So that's why it is mentioned that in the Garbhodaksha, Vishnu enters into the heart of each and every living entity. That means that the same Lord is also the Shirodaksha Vishnu. There is no difference. But in technically, we may say like that a Shirodaksha Vishnu exists in our heart. The same time, that same Lord, we say also Krishna seated in our heart. That's why Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that. Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto madhagasmrta jnanam apohanam cha. Vedeshu sarvam ahameka vedya vedandakrit vedakrit evachaham. Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto. I am seated in everyone's heart. Here Krishna is saying that I am seated in everyone's heart. Here Kapiladev says that Garbhodaksha Vishnu seated in every atom and every living entities, the heart of every living entities. The same time, it also says that Shirodaksha Vishnu also exists in the heart of each living entity and also have the incarnations. Why? Because of Krishna and his plenary expansions and expansions of the expansions, and his existence in everything is complete. There is, we cannot separate from him that this Lord is less than this Lord. This Lord is less than this Lord. But we can understand that the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna is the original Purna Purushottam Bhagavan. So everything is his expansions, and he exists accordingly as per the time, place, and circumstances and for the specific functions. So this is a very great understanding here. So that in order to have this creation, in this material world that manifests from the external energy of the Lord, that external energy then come and with the time and activities and the modes of material nature, then the universe start to function and action. Then also we can see that from that universe, that is why, in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Sri Krishna was showing that his universal form to Arjuna. So this is his Garbhodakshaya, the universal aspect of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Everything is there in the universal body of the Lord. Everything is there in the universe. Nothing that we can separate from the universal body of the Lord. Then where this creation, everything is taking place within that the body of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Everything is there, and even top to the Brahma, to the down to the the lowest planetary system, and all the living entities are there, how they are functioning, everything is there, all the ingredients are there, everything is there into that the universal form of the Lord. So similarly, that universal form, then also we can see that from that from the navel of that Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, Brahma manifests. So now Lord wants to have the creation. That's called secondary creation. So the Brahma manifests from that Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. So here Lord enters into the Garbhodaga ocean or the universes, and from that Lord lies down on the Garbhodaga ocean. From that navel of that Garbhodakashaya Vishnu, then lotus sprouts, and from that lotus Brahma manifests, and then Brahma is appointed as the secondary creator and within that universe. So there are innumerable Brahmas like that. So each universe there is Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and there is a Brahma, and there is Rudra, there is 11 Rudras and Shivas, and there are demigods, and there are so many other functionaries, and they all, part of this creation. This all part of the arrangement of this Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. This is the way Garbhodakshaya Vishnu maintains each universe. This is the way Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, the Supreme Lord, maintains each and every living entity. Because of Lord seated in the heart of that devotee, heart of that living entity, and everything functions in the form of a Paramatma. So, like that, each and every living entity, each and every atom, each and everything in this universe is actually controlled and maintained by the Supreme Personality of Godhead in this form. So, as mentioned that Parasya Shaktir Vibhideva Sruya, that supreme potency is manifested in various ways. So, this is sometimes we see that this may be a little difficult to understand. When we see this all picture of it, how it is functioning. That's why Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu very simply explained about it, that Ajindya Bheda Abheda Tattva. Simultaneously, Krishna is one. Ajindya, it is inconceivable, Ajindya. But Ajindya Bheda, there is a difference. At the same time, there is similarity, some sameness. And simultaneously one, and at the same time different. So Krishna exists, and Krishna is the original person. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that Supreme Potency is manifested in so many ways in this world. And in order to have all these living entities, why it is all even being created, this material universes, so that living entities can be fulfilled their desires. That's why this material world is created. As long as the material living entity has the desires with them, so they have to be here in this world. So they have to go through these various cycles of this, creations and then annihilation, go back to the body of Mahavishnu, comes back again into this material world, go back to Mahavishnu, comes back. That's why we have this wonderful process of that understanding. And why the purpose, why we want to understand all this, so that we understand that the position of the living entity and the position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and what is our eternal relationship with the living entity and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and what is our eternal nature. And then we understand, this is our all temporary. This is all creation, this is a manifestation, temporary manifestation of this world. So we will come to understand that our eternal nature, that we belongs to that supreme potency of that Supreme Personality of Godhead. So when we are that Tadastha Shakti, that's another third potency, that's a marginal potency. And that marginal potency is not originally belongs to this material world, but this marginal potency, Tadastha Shakti, belongs to the superior nature of the Lord. Then we understand this all structure of the universe, and we can easily connect ourselves with that Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then we can engage ourselves rather than engaging ourselves in this material realm. and hanging out in this material realm and completely devoid of, completely immersed in this illusion of this material energy, then we can connect ourselves with that supreme. Then when we connect ourselves with that supreme, that's called spiritual. That's completely spiritual. That is not in the material realm. Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, all the dhams and devotees and spiritual, this is not related to anything that material. That's why only way that we can come out of this material clutches is that when we come and contact with the spiritual superior energy in the form of chanting and hearing and meditating here, Srimad Bhagavatam, association and offering Archana Vandanam, all these are actually happening on that spiritual realm, not in the material realm. So that's why we all have to come out of this, understanding that the temporary nature of this material world and come to this, our eternal spiritual nature. When we are there with this process, then we can easily come out of this temporary nature of this material world. That's why even Mother Devahudi is inquiring about, so that we can understand thoroughly how the relationship of a living entity with this material nature and the spiritual nature. So thank you, dear devotees, for joining today. Let me stop here with this class. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Madhuvati Prabhuji, back to you.
Haribol.
Haribol. Hare Krishna.
We'd like to wish everybody a safe and Krishna conscious day and week ahead. Today is Dwadasi. Parna time is from
7:15 to
9:25.
7:15 to 9:25 is a Parna time. We'd like to offer our prayers to the Supreme Lord. I just heard one of our devotees was in the emergency last week. Yesterday rather, not last week, yesterday. Sarvasundar Prabhu. So let's offer our prayers to the Supreme Lord by chanting Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram,
Hare
Ram,
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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram,
Hare Ram, 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna,
Hare Ram,
Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare.
Sinasingha Jai Narsingha Jai Jai Nar.
Prahaladesha Jai Patma Muga Patma Brahma. Ugram Veeryam Mahavishnu Jalandam Sarvadomukam Narasimham Vishnam. Narasimhadev Bhagavan ki Jai.
Hindu Patitanam Pavanam Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Vaishnavinda ki Jai, Granthar Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Gaur Premanande.
Hare Hare.
Hare Hare Bol. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Hare
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Hare Krishna.